we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Today we will continue the chapter of morality. This talk will be the last part of morality, but next talk will be about Visuddhimagga. So in this talk, we are going to talk about big collections of morality. It also mentioned many different stanzas, many different opinions and point of view of morality. So in the very beginning, we have to start with the cleansing of virtues. So last week we talked about impurity of virtues. So we have to start. The cleansing of virtues comes about in 2 ways. 1, seeing the danger of failure in virtues. Then 2, seeing the benefits of perfected virtues. So we have to understand the 5 dangers of failure in virtues. Now we also have to know the 5 benefits of the benefit of virtues, as we have mentioned before. Actually, we have already talked about the benefits very long times ago, when we are going to talk about the characteristics, the function, the manifestation, the prosemic cause of morality. The 5 benefits of morality. So he can obtain a large fortune. And 2, he will have good reputations. So his good reputations is spread abroad. 3, he can enter any assemblies without fear. 4, he dies unconfused. 5, he can be reborn in the good destinations after death. So these 5 are the benefits of virtues. We have already explained before. But today, we have to explain the dangers of failure. Here we have many different explanations about the failure of virtues. So the first one is the displeasance to deities and human beings. So if we are not virtuous, then all the deities will not love or will not respect us. Also, we cannot please their minds, and they will not please us also. Then also we cannot please the human beings. This is very common. Then 2, being uninstructed by his fellow Dhamma friends. According to Vinaya, we have 1 rules. We call in Bali lachi and alachi. In Bali, shameless or shameful bhikkhus. We can say like that. We can also say another way like a virtuous or not virtuous. But this is a little bit risky to use this kind of term, because if we talk about virtues, this means something similar to parajika. Okay, now we have to talk about lachi and alachi. There are some bhikkhu, he's a shameless. Shameless means he may offend intentionally. He didn't confess. Also, he may do some wrong courses. If the moral bhikkhu or good bhikkhu teach him Dhamma, then he offends. The teacher can offend. So we must not have communications with this kind of bhikkhu. That means shameless bhikkhus and shameful bhikkhus cannot work together. So especially shameful bhikkhu who respect, okay, we can say like that, who respect Vinaya must not teach any Dhamma to those who don't respect the Vinaya. This is the way to what I wish a disciple. We can also learn this kind of things in Vinaya. Then suffering when the unvirtuous are sensuous. Of course, from time to time, we are criticized by people if we are immoral. We have to suffer from it. This is also normal. Then being remorseful when the virtuous are praised. So here when we talk about remorse, in Pali we should talk about kukucha. Kukucha can divide into two different things. The first one is after doing some wrong things, we regret. Another one is after missing good opportunity or good things we have to do, we may regret. This is called kukucha. So when virtuous persons are praised, we may regret, oh, if I have done this kind of things, if I have avoided this kind of things, then people may praise me, but now I'm criticized by many people. So we have this kind of situations, unavoidable situation. Mostly people love virtuous people, good people. People also hate unvirtuous and bad people. So 5, being ugly, we can like a strange appearance, like a hem clothes. So that means sometimes if we are unvirtuous, the way we wear are not very proper. You may have seen many people, many ordinary persons, the way they wear are not proper, not good looking. The way they behave also not good looking. The way they speak also not good looking. So all these come from virtues. If we are virtuous, then we can have good appearance, good impressions to the devotees. So here it mentioned like a hem clothes. It's not good looking. Also very low value, very low price. This is it, the first thing we have to know. The next one is being painful for those who follow and imitate him because they are brought to long-lasting suffering in the woeful state. Here, although we just talk about suffering in woeful state, in reality, if somebody follow or imitate bad people or bad bhikkhus, they have to suffer a lot even in this very life. People will criticize, you will regret or remorse. We cannot feel happiness. We don't feel safe and secure. Whenever we remember our bad actions, we regret. Also, we feel guilty. All these are not the sign of good or the sign of our spiritual power, good spiritual power. So, in brief, when we talk about suffering in woeful states, it also can be suffering in human lives. Right? So, for example, like if we are immoral, although we do some dana, the dana is not that much beneficial, not so strong as moral person. That is why we have to consider about our virtues most of the time. Especially, we must not imitate or emulate bad people. Then next one, being worthless for donors because they cannot get great fruits by offering him. As we have known many discourses about offering and charity, they are mentioned in one discourse. The purity of dana. There will be two sides. Purity of devotees and purity of receiver. When the receiver is moral or virtuous, although the donor is immoral, he can get great fruits, good fruits, because of purity of receiver. Similarly, from the devotee side, if devotee is moral, but receiver is immoral, he can also get great fruits, or great results, great benefits, because of the purity of the donor. If both of them are pure, sure, it will be great benefits. So here, if the receiver is immoral, although donor offers very big amount of donations, they cannot get great fruits because of receiver is impure. Of course, from the donor side, because his purity, he may get, but not so powerful as purity in both sides. Then here we have many other discourses about dana. The Dekkanavibhanga Sutta mentioned the purity in these two sides. Okay, now the next one. Being hard to purified, just like Sespit is Sespit many years old. So you can imagine Sespit, right? It's very bad smell. Also many years, people have been using this Sespit. So if like this, it will be very difficult to clean or to purify, because almost all the bad habits are very difficult to change. So we are used to be with unwholesome things, unwholesome minds, unwholesome thoughts, unwholesome speech. It's really very difficult to change. That's why it's very difficult to purify oneself. Then 9, the next one. It is being an outsider, like a burnt logs from a fire, because he gets happiness neither in ordinary life nor in household life. But here we have to explain burnt logs from a fire. It's not totally charcoal, half burnt, half charcoal. So nobody will carry the one to build a house or to make a charcoal, because it's in the fire. They burn dead body. People may feel disgusting things. People may think that this firewood is disgusting things. So similarly, if we are immoral, we become the outsider of good people. We naturally become the outsider. Sometimes people does not excommunicate us. We just excommunicate ourselves from the people. Similarly, there are many immoral and unvirtuous people. When they are very bad, people don't need to excommunicate them. They excommunicate themselves. They are very far from good people. So here it mentions, if we are immoral, we cannot get happiness in both sides, in ordinary life or in household life. So sometimes we can find for happiness. As a layperson, you can find many happiness in your daily life. As a bhikkhu, we can also find many happiness in ordinary life. But if we are immoral, we cannot find any happiness. Although we say we are happy, but it cannot be happiness with wholesome mind or wholesome happiness. It can be unwholesome happiness. That is why we can say like a samana sukha, happiness of ordinary life or pleasurable things in ordinary life. So actually, it will mention many different things when we read in Buddha Vansa, the great canonical of the Buddha. It will mention many things about happiness in ordinary life. But here it will be too much, so I will not explain here. The next one is not being real bhikkhu, although he claims himself a bhikkhu, just like a donkey following a herd of cattle. See, this discourse can be found in Anguttara Nikaya. A donkey is following a herd of cattle, thinking, I'm also a cattle, I'm also a cow, a bull, something like that. Similarly, if immoral bhikkhu, although he was following the moral bhikkhu, moral community, because his mind, his speech, and his bodily actions are impure, he cannot be real bhikkhu. Okay, here I have to explain the meaning of bhikkhu. Bhikkhu means, there are actually many definitions. One of the definitions is the one who destroys the defilements is called bhikkhu. Another thing is the one who sees the round of samsara as a danger is also called bhikkhu. So if we are immoral, sure, we will not see the danger in samsara. We cannot destroy the defilements. That is why, although he follows the bhikkhu community, he cannot be real bhikkhu or good bhikkhu. Then the next one, being always nervous like a man who is everybody's enemies. This one is also very clear, right? If we have a lot of enemies, wherever we go, we are not secure. Everybody hates us, so we cannot go freely. So wherever we are nervous, we are scared, we cannot join many activities. This is one of the failure of virtues. Then next one, being unfit to live with, just as a dead body. So we will not sleep together with a dead body in the same bed, in the same rooms. Similarly, good bhikkhu will not live with him if he is unvirtuous. So this one is also very simple explanations. Then next one, being unfit for the homage of his fellow Dhamma friends. Although he is knowledgeable, just as a China ground fires is unfit for Brahmins to homage. Here it mentioned the simile. So Brahmins will homage to the fire, It must be holy fire. They may make special wine, butter, ghee, special abundant charcoal to be respected. It can be good smell. So if we have fire in the China ground, burning dead body, that kind of fire is impure. Also not good smell. The high class Brahmin, high caste Brahmin, were not homage that kind of fire. Similarly, many moral bhikkhu or good bhikkhu will not pay homage to him. He's unfit to pay homage also. So this is also in our community, we can find. Sometimes we have difficulty when we go abroad. Sometimes when we go to the senior, we are going to pay homage, they say, don't pay homage. It's okay, just sit here. We just talk. Sometimes they avoid our respect. You know, when we are going to pay respect or pay homage, they avoid. We don't want to make them happy. So, okay, we have to sit normally, just talk for some other topics. This thing can really happen in our community many times, in many cases. The next one, being incapable for higher attainment, just as blind man cannot see visible objects. We have one statement in Pariwara Pali, Andarayika Dhamma, Anandarayika Dhamma. The Andarayika Dhamma means if we break Buddha's law with the intention or knowingly, then we cannot, if we don't confess, we cannot attain any higher attainment. Although there is no intention to break or unintentionally break precepts, there are some special rules. It's not allowed to break. Anyway, the main thing is, if we wish to attain higher attainment, we must establish our concentrations based on morality. So here I mentioned the blind man cannot see visible objects. This is simile. Then here also we have to understand we cannot see the Dhamma. We cannot concentrate well. We cannot practice Vipassana well. We cannot attain Nibbana. Then next one is not desiring or expecting noble Dhamma. Here we talk about noble Dhamma. There can be three things: learning. I think you have already known this one in Pali. Learning me, pariyati. Practicing me, patipati. Realizing me, pativedha. Because of it, we can also say penetrating. So we may not desire to learn or to practice or for realizations of Nibbana. Just as an outcast, sorry, there's some spelling mistakes. An outcast never expects himself to be a king. So now in modern society, we don't have outcasts, but in India, there are some places they may have outcasts or something like that. Anyway, mostly in most of the country, we may not have outcasts. So he may not expect to be a king, but the throne prince will expect to be a king. If somebody was born in the royal family, he or she may expect to be a king or a queen. to be an emperor or an empress. Outcast people may not expect to be a king, an empress, or an emperor. So similarly, we may not have any desire or any expectation for noble Dhamma. Especially here, we can also understand like attaining. So that means we can understand if we are immoral, we don't have any aim or any goal, we don't have very big or very high ambition, such as to attain Nibbana. So sometimes we have to remind ourselves whether we really wish to attain Nibbana or not. If we don't wish to attain Nibbana, we have to consider what kind of people we are. Right? So that means we are outcast or we are high class. So the last one is suffering as mentioned in Akikanabama Sutta, although he thinks himself as a happy. Yes, there are many things we consider as a happiness. So I think you may have known today is the last day of Myanmar old year. Tomorrow will be New Year. Today, a group of devotees come to my monastery and talk about some Buddha's practice, some meditation and other practice. Then I also mentioned there are many people, they don't know wholesome and unwholesome. If they are happy, it's pleasant for them, they think it's a wholesome, it's a kusala. For example, like singing a song, sure, it's a pleasure. Playing music instruments, this is also pleasure. It is not harmful for other people. Or one more thing, it just increasing defilements. So, when we are going to talk about happiness, we have to think about a wholesome happiness or unwholesome happiness. If it is a wholesome happiness, we can continue. If unwholesome happiness, we shall not continue. So now we have to talk about Akikanabama Sutta. That one is very famous because at the end of that discourse, you may know why it's famous. There are some very many immoral bhikkhus, although there are also some good bhikkhus in the audience, in the listeners. Then the Buddha asks his disciple in the Akikanabama Sutta. I think it will be another topic, right? Akikanabama Sutta. The Buddha asks his disciples, which is better, embracing the great mass of fire or embracing young woman? So the bhikkhu replies, it is better to embrace a young woman than to embrace the great mass of fire. Of course, everybody will answer like this. Embracing fire is terrible. It will burn our body. We have to suffer a lot. Then the Buddha said, it's better to embrace the great mass of fire than to be unvirtuous. That's what the Buddha said. By embracing great mass of fire, right, we cannot be reborn in the fourfold states, but because we are unvirtuous, we can be reborn in the fourfold states after death. But if we just embrace a mass of fire, we will have to suffer, right? We may have to suffer, deadly suffer. but the one is not that much tolerable as if embracing a young woman, because it will be long time suffering in the fourth stage after death. So this is the first part the Buddha asks. Similarly, the Buddha also asks many other questions in the suttas. I list out the questions, one after another. Which one is better? To have strong horsehair rope twisted around 2 legs by a strong man, so that it may cut the skin, flesh, sinews, bones, and bone marrow, or to accept the homage of devotees? This is the questions asked by the Buddha. So, you can also know the answer of the bhikkhu, right? You can imagine what will be the answer of the bhikkhu. The bhikkhu answer is better to have strong horsehair ropes twisted around 2 legs by a strong man. If they pull very strongly, if 2 men pull very strongly, yeah, it can cut the skins, the flesh, the sinews, bones, and bone marrows. It's very terrible. But if we are unvirtuous, it's more tolerable. Then unvirtuous, if we accept the homage of good devotees, it will be more tolerable. More tolerable means their mission is like a mess of fire, burning. It will be worse than to have a strong horsehair ropes twisted around the 2 legs and by strong men, and so that it may cut skins or up to bone marrows. It will be worse than that. Then next one is to be stabbed in the chest with sharp swords, or to accept reverential salutations by the devotees. So the Buddha asks, which is better? To be stabbed in the chest with a sharp sword, or to accept the reverential salutations by the devotees? We can say like Anjali, Anjali. Then the bhikkhu may answer, is it better to accept the reverential salutations by the devotees? Is better. But the Buddha said, if somebody is unvirtuous, and is it better to be stabbed in the chest with the sharp sword? Because of that, he can die, he can suffer. He cannot be reborn in the hell. But if we accept reverential salutations from the devotees, it will be worse than being stabbed in the chest with a sharp sword. Then we have the next one, to wrap the body with red hot sheets of iron, or to derive enjoyment from the robes offered by faithful devotees. So, I think you may have known some story about Venerable Mahamoggallana and Venerable Lakkhana. When they were coming down from Visuddhimagga hill, they see some Veda wearing burning clothes. So here, the question is, which one is better? To wrap the body with red hot sheets of iron, or to derive enjoyment from the robes offered by faithful devotees? Of course, people may answer, it's better to rest the body, it's better to derive enjoyment from the robes of our faithful devotees, right? It's better. But if we are immoral, it's like a rubbing the body with red hot sheet of iron. When we wear the robes of our faithful devotees. So here we should understand one more thing about faithful. Faithful devotees means they have very strong saddha. They believe in karma, and as a result, then they offer the donations to the bhikkhu. So if bhikkhu use the robes offered by faithful devotees without moral, without observing precepts, it's like rubbing his body with red hot sheet of iron. Then, next one. The Buddha asks, which one is better, to be put red hot iron into mouth with tongues, or to consume food offered by faithful devotees? Of course, the bhikkhu will answer, it's better to consume food offered by faithful devotees. If a bhikkhu is immoral, and he may accept and consume the food offered by faithful devotees who believe in karma, and as a result, then actually he is being put red iron into mouth with tongues. The next one. To have yourself sit or lie on the red hot iron bed, or to use the bed or chair offered by faithful devotees. Then the Buddha asks, which one is better? You can also understand the answer will be, or what the answer will be, right? The bhikkhu answer is better to use the bed or chair offered by faithful devotees. But here the Buddha explains, if somebody use beds or chairs offered by faithful devotees without undertaking any precepts or practicing precepts, morality, he is like sitting or lying down on the red hot iron bed. This is very terrible, right? The next one, it mentioned, the Buddha asks, which one is better for you, to have your head down and a fox to down into the red hot iron cauldron, or to use the dwelling offered by faithful devotees? You can also understand the answer, right? To use the dwellings offered by faithful devotees will be more comfortable, right? It will be better. But if we are immoral, we bhikkhu must not use any donation like that. If we use, it's like having our heads down or force us down into red hot iron cauldrons. So here, in brief, we have 4 requisites: the food, the clothes, the residence, and medicines. All the things offered by faithful devotees. Without undertaking precepts, without following Buddhist laws, if we use all these properties, it is like using red hot iron. Then the Buddha also said in every single statement, bound by red iron, you may die or have deadly suffering, but you may not be reborn in the fourfold state after death. That is what the Buddha said. So, if we are immoral, and if also using many donations offered by faithful devotees, because of this kind of using, we can be reborn in the fourfold state. The Buddha also continues talking about the four locuses there. Because of what I have said here, monks, you should train yourself such that it gives off those whose locuses we use. The robes, unspool, chairs, beds, and medicine as it supports when sick. Will have great fruits, great merit for the people who give them. And our going forth will not be in vain, will be fruitful, will have a result. Thus should you train yourself thoroughly, seeing that for your own benefit, monks, it is right to strive with heedfulness, thoroughly seeing that for the benefit of others, monks, it is right to strive with heedfulness, and thoroughly seeing that for the benefit of both monks, it is right to strive with heedfulness. So we must be mindful or heedful. Then there at the end, the Buddha also mentioned, thus spoke the Blessed One. And while this explanation was being delivered, hot blood rose out of the mouths of 60 monks. Another 60 monks abandoned the trainings and returned to the lower life, saying, is it too difficult to do? Blessed One, is it too difficult to do? While the mind of another 60 monks abandoned clinging and were liberated from cankers. Okay, here I should explain the last part. There are 60 bhikkhus, right? Hot blood rose out of their mouths at the end of this discourse because they are unvirtuous. Then there are 60 monks who disrobed. They disrobed because they are unvirtuous. There are only another 60 monks attain hardship. They abandon clinging. That is the explanations in Kanopama Sutta. Then the Buddha also condemned the unvirtuous as a figure of complete wickedness. Here I mentioned Sankara Samajaro. Sankara means rubbish. So when we talk about this one, we can also understand the rubbish. Right? Rubbish is undesirable things. We will not use that one. That's why here the Buddha used. It is like a rubbish. Sorry, it's like a fidgetua, sorry. Then Kasambujado, who has a back character like a rubbish. This one is called rubbish, sorry. So we don't like rubbish. Right? Another one is Vasudo, who feel with desire. Actually, we can also find this kind of statements in Dhammapada. We also have explained in our previous talks. I don't remember in which talk. You know, those who don't have lustful minds cannot be penetrated by the lust, as if well-roofed house cannot be penetrated by the rain. So here again, Vasudomi who feel with desire, attachments, or lustful minds, then many of desirable objects can penetrate or come into him. He cannot avoid it, he has to suffer from it. Therefore, Papo, who has evil nature. So that one is very easy to understand. We may have good nature if we are practicing well. Right? If we are not practicing well, we don't have good nature, we are like evildoer. Then number five is Antobuddhi, who has a rotten nature internally. Of course, apparently, we may have good looking, good appearance, but internally, it's rotten because of the virtues or unvirtues. So this is the last part of the Visuddhimagga about morality. Then the Buddha also explained many stanzas. Big collections, the commentator also mentioned many stanzas from many different textbooks. Then here we will talk about the stanzas. It is discussed in if a bhikkhu who pretends himself to be virtuous without restraint, and who projects his body with failure of virtues. Here I should elaborate a little bit more. Without restraints. This one is very easy to understand. Restraining without abstinence or without training. Then sometimes we may protect our body by breaking precepts. We may follow our desire by breaking precepts. We may do whatever we would like to do, breaking precepts. Then all these things can be considered as protecting our body with failure of virtues. So when we are going to practice, we must not follow our desire too much. If we follow our desire too much, we cannot observe the precepts. Of course, when we are going to talk about sila, there must be training, verbally and bodily actions. That is mentioned restraints, bodily restraints or verbal restraints. So sometimes we just observe this precept just for show, not for any higher attainments or any good expectations or good ambitions. Then next one is as if well-decorated young people keep themselves far away from downs and coughs. The virtuous will keep themselves far away from unvirtuous, the unvirtuous. Actually, if we have virtuous community or moral community, unvirtuous person cannot live very long time. Similarly, if there is or there are many immoral persons in the community, very few moral persons in the community. Sure, moral person cannot live in immoral community. These two are totally opposites. We cannot live together. Then the next one, the unvirtuous cannot be free from danger of self-reproach and so on. Then they cannot attain any attainment. They close the door to heaven and open the road to hell. Okay, now, here I just mentioned the virtuous cannot be free from the danger of self-reproach and so on. I have to elaborate only that part. So here, self-reproach, we complain ourselves. We reproach ourselves after doing many mistakes, after making many mistakes. Then there are also some other complaint by good people. We cannot avoid it. So if there is a good people, a good culture, then they will complain bad people and bad culture. Another one is a punishment. It can be according to the law, or it can be according to the community we live. There can be some punishment. We cannot be free from punishment if we break many precepts. So the last one is very simple one, but the most risky one. That is it. Cannot be free from being born in the fourfold states. So in Pali we call Adanuvada, self-reproach, Paranuvada, reproach by other people, then Danda, Danda means punishment, Dukati means fourfold states. So immoral persons or unvirtuous cannot be free from these four things. For our attainment is very clear. So here metaphorically, the Buddha also say, they close the door to heaven and open the road to hell. So we can also understand the morality is the door to heaven. If we wish to enter into heaven, we must open the door. If we close the door, we cannot enter into the heaven. Similarly, the road to the hell. So if there's the roads, right? Smooth roads, we can wish to go there. Although we wish or we don't wish, we must go to that road. That is why he mentioned open the road to the hell and also close the door to heaven if we are unvirtuous. Contrary to it, when we are virtuous, we are opening the door to heaven and closing the road to the hell. That is the statement. Then again, the next one. The virtuous are the object of compassions for the virtuous. So there are many forms of unvirtuous. Right? So we have already talked about many forms of unvirtuous previously. So sometimes when we are going to practice compassion, karuna, we have to find suffering beings. There are many people they are happy to do many, many bad things. But it will be suffering in the future. They are the objects of compassion. We can really karuna toward them. From time to time, there are some devotees or some meditators. They also ask me, but there are some people, they are very bad. How can I help? Sometimes they don't need our help. They don't accept our help. Although I'm trying to help, they are not ready to accept. What should we do? And just say, very simple thing. Just trying to have compassion toward them. They are not ready to accept. We cannot do anything. Just compassion toward them. It's okay. We cannot do more than that. So similarly, there are many, many evil doers. Many, many people doing evil things. We can have only compassion toward them. We cannot help them sometimes. There are some people we can help. Then sure, if they accept our help, we can help. If they don't accept, just compassion is good enough. So now, the last part of the morality here. Revealing the benefit of virtues. So from time to time, people also ask, how should we review? How should we review our quality, our value? And sometimes they also ask me, how should we review morality? What is silanosity? Of course, later we have to explain silanosity, but this one will be different. So, here using the 406, by a virtuous bhikkhu, gives pleasure and trust. That is the explanation. So, we can also understand another way. If the virtuous bhikkhu use the 406, then his appearance will be like venerable or respectable, honorable maybe. Then he also been very fruitful for the devotees who offer the robes. Then they also have the fruit, the benefit of ordination, ordained life. Then here again, self-reproach will never enter in his heart, as if the darkness disappears when the sun rises. So here, although we talk about self-reproach, we can also understand all other things I have mentioned. It will be reproached by other people, or punishment, or suffering in fruitful states. Yeah, the main thing is self-reproach, because we cannot be free from ourselves after making mistakes. If many people complain us, we can hide. If we complain ourselves, if we reproach ourselves, we cannot hide anywhere. We cannot be free from ourselves. Sometimes we are free from our enemies, but we cannot be free from ourselves. That's why when self-reproach enters our heart, it will be very painful. So when we are moral, self-reproach will never enter into our hearts. Then also it mentioned, as if darkness disappears when the sun rises. The simile is very clear, right? Then the virtuous make the teaching gracious by having contentment, as if the moon is gracious in the sky. Here the teaching means the Buddha dispensations or the Buddha's teaching. It will make gracious because of the contentment. So when we are going to accept donations with a contentment, when we are using or consuming the properties or the containment, we may review after using the properties or the containment. Then it will be gracious, like the moon in the sky, like a full moon in the sky, not normal moon, right? Full moon in the sky. So yesterday is a full moon day. We can see the moon shining brightly. Then we have next stanza. The body perfume of a virtuous can please deities and Brahmas. So that means, actually, it also can please good people, right? Good devotees and good people. So, for example, when we are virtuous, we can also please people's minds. Right? Here I mentioned the body perfumes of virtuous can please deities. So, although our body is smelly, but if we are virtuous, it can please them. It can please our deities and Brahmas. So the perfumes of virtues excel all perfumes. It can go any directions. As we know that the perfume or the smell of flower can go only downwind. It cannot go upwind. It cannot go many directions. But here, the perfume of virtues can go everywhere, upwards, downwards, or it can be up, down, or any directions. 10 directions. So which means we can also understand that when we become virtuous, then people will spread the news of our virtues. Then people can know how is the value of virtues, how good it is. Then again, we have the next one. The deeds done for virtues will bear much fruit, although they will be few. Sometimes there are some donors, they are poor, they cannot offer very big amount of donations. But the receiver is virtuous. Although they offer very small amount of donations, it can bear very much fruit for the donors. So here I mentioned the virtues are the ground of honor and respect. As we have already known that the Buddha has very strong virtues, the strongest, supreme virtues. That is why we respect, we honor him. That's why we can understand the virtue is the ground of honor and respect. Then again, the virtuous again destroyed the cankers in this very life. Here I add, the cankers may be also misunderstood as asava, right? Asava, we also say asava, sure, but that one is not the asava we normally know, like a kama sawa, right? The kanka of sensual desire, bhava attachment to the life, dita sawa, attachment to wrong view, and avijja sawa, ignorance. It doesn't mean this kind of asava. Here the asava kankas means punishment or self-reproach and so on. We have already explained that one four times, right? Self-reproach, reproach by others, and punishment, suffering in four states. So here we have three: punishment, self-reproach and reproach by other people. We can destroy that kind of danger in this very life. So we cannot be complained by many good people. Then we cannot complain ourselves. We will not have any punishment by any people, any authorized person. So it can destroy, morality can destroy all these things. And not only that, they will dig out the root of suffering in the future existences. So which means, if we are virtuous, we can uproot the suffering in the future existences. So it can be very big foundations of concentration. The concentration can be the foundations of vipassana. We can also uproot in the samsara if we can attain hardship. Then next one. It is easy for a virtuous to get the achievement in human realms and the achievement in deva realms as he wishes. So although here we use very simple words, achievement, it can be many other things we have to understand. For example, as a human being, we can have many human achievements. For example, such as education, spiritual power, bodily power. We can also like a body energy, mental energy, right? Energetic person, strong body and mentally both. Also longevity, beauty, and many other things. Similarly, in Devarans, if we are virtuous, good reputations, beauty, longevity, accompanies, many companions, we can get all these kind of achievements when we are virtuous, although we don't make aspiration to achieve these kind of things. So if we are virtuous, we can easily achieve it, although we don't make aspiration. Then the last part of today's talk. Nibbana is totally peaceful. The mind of virtuous will not seek other than Nibbana. That is it, the stanzas. We know that Nibbana is a peaceful, a blissful state of attainment. Then our minds will seek the Nibbana. We will not see other things. I think you may remember I asked many times these questions. When I ask people, do you want to attain Nibbana? They say yes. When I ask second time, do you really wish to attain Nibbana? They say yes. Then when I ask second question, do you wish to earn money? They say yes. Then when I ask these two things, which one do you like most, Nibbana or money? Then some people say, we need to attain Nibbana more, we like Nibbana more. Then I just ask very simple questions. How do you spend your time? Do you spend your time by practicing to attain Nibbana or for earning money? If you spend most of the time for Nibbana, sure, that means you wish to attain Nibbana, right? Your mind will incline to Nibbana most of the time. So now here in the sense of morality, when we are virtuous, our minds will incline to Nibbana more. This is a common. Okay, so today, this is the last part of the chapter of virtues, the chapter of Sila. Not totally finished, but the next part will be Dhutanga. So one more thing I have to explain to you. We have, in brief, we have Patisambhidamagga restraint, Patisambhidamagga Samana Sila, then guidance and doors, then purifications of their livelihoods, then dependent on photographics, reviewing photographics. These are called 4 types of morality. These are compulsory for ordinary persons. These are compulsory for meditators. For about Dhutanga, it's not compulsory. If we can or we wish, we can do it. If we cannot, we can also live without practicing Dhutanga. It will be different. So now all the things we have explained are the virtues we have to practice. It is compulsory. Okay? May you all be able to practice the Buddha's teaching as guided by the Buddha, and may you all be able to realize the final cessations and the suffering as soon as possible.
Okay, the first question is, Dear Sayadaw, regarding this sentence in the last lesson, to be born in the Deva world by breaking the precept is like disrobing by disavowing the trainings. I think breaking the precept here means the bhikkhuhood and the precepts are automatically broken or lost at one's death, but he is not an arahant, so his pure sila can cause rebirth in the Deva world. This is like disrobing and reverting to the lay life by relinquishing the bhikkhu's precept.
Right. Okay. Sure. Okay.
Arahantship, one will pass away with his precepts complete since there's no more rebirth. I guess there's no question, but I think he asked whether what he thinks is correct or not.
Okay, sure. This is okay, sure. Correct. Okay, next one.
Dear Sayadaw, for lay devotees, if husband and wife who have not divorced, but they live independent with each other, different rooms with limited communication and contact for a few months. This is due to the constraint of economic conditions. In that case, if the wife or husband has another relationship or intercourse, is that kamesu michachara? Bante, sadhu, sadhu, Bante.
Okay, in this case, sure, this means as long as they are married, they are breaking precept, sure. Husband or wife, they have another relationship, right?
Yes.
This is really very clear. This is like breaking precept, sure. Okay.
Vanami said, this question from Sale Dhamma Parami. I am the Sale, and I keep 8 precepts. In the afternoon, I only drink purified water, drinking water. But recently, I went for medical checkup, and I know that I got some stomach ulcer. So because of that, I need to. So in the afternoon, it's very uncomfortable in my stomach and very hot, heaty in my body because of the acid in the stomach. So I cannot sleep well at night. So the doctor said that I need to eat something, a small meal between throughout the day. So Vanami said, in this case, I mean the question here, so can I keep precept and also take the medicine or healing my sickness at the same time?
Okay, in this case, So you must find a way, right? I don't know your situation that much in detail. You just know your situation, right? Situation in your country, situations in your body, everything. So the main thing is whatever situation we have, right? If we have undertaken, we call our body samadhi, we must avoid it. There are many allowable things we can consume. We should choose all these allowable things, right? Like a chadumatu, for example. When we are going to take medicine, we just do chadumatu, and we just take medicine like that. You should find a way to solve this problem. Any situation, don't break precepts, okay?
If he knows from one of his friends that his teacher, a bhikkhu, who has been sexually assaulted him, means his friend, through verbal or actions. But because she is too afraid to expose these bad actions of his teacher, and also, she afraid this happening, other people will know. So in this situation, and in this situation, the bhikkhu, who is the teacher, still maintains mindfulness in verbally and actions, and his speech also very nice to hear in externally, means he shows very good mindfulness and also speaks very nicely, and many students also respect him. So if his friend try to expose his teacher's bad actions, the other people may not believe her, and even complain her. So in this situation, how should she help her friend? Can she help her to report? Can she help her to expose the teacher's bad actions? And if this bad actions is not exposed, this teacher may continue to wear the bhikkhu jivara, just as the wolf wearing the skins of a goat. He will. He can easily get trust by other female devotees and continue his bad actions.
Okay, so in this case, I don't know the situation that much in detail, right? I don't know where is it and how he live or everything. Okay, that means if you are friends, if you have many other friends, you can recommend them not to approach that teacher. If they believe or if you have witness, okay? Without any witness, if you just talk about this kind of actions, then people may say you are crazy, right? That's right. Okay. In this case, as long as you don't have witness, don't say anything. If you don't have witness, okay, you can say people, don't approach that kind of teacher like that, okay? It will be easy and more convenient for you. If you say everybody, just because it's bad like this, this is not really very good attitudes, also no witness, just for unwholesome mind for other people, right? Okay, now next one.
Dear Sayadaw mentioned that if a bhikkhu breaks the Vinaya and he does not confess, he will be incapable of higher attainment. Is it the unwholesome karma of breaking Vinaya that is blocking him from higher attainment? Or is it because his mind, he cannot proceed further in his practice? First question. The second question is, if this bhikkhu already practiced samatha and vipassana before he breaks the Vinaya, and he tries very hard, will he still be able to maintain his practice or attain further?
Actually, compassion is just for humble, right? We have good minds, good attitudes. If we don't have good minds, we cannot expect higher attainment. So here, actually, I have already mentioned that one. Intentionally break precepts. After that, no confessions. Which means no sincerity. In this case, actually we have spiritual power. We are trying for spiritual quality. If our mind is bad, we cannot attain, right? We have the one body what? Untitled obstructed by like a breaking precepts or breaking rules, breaking Buddha's law, we can say like that. In Bali we call Anavitikkamandaraya, right? This is because of breaking precepts, is no sincerity. That is why he cannot attain anything. It comes from the mind. Okay. Second question is?
Second question is, if this bhikkhu already practiced samatha and vipassana before he breaks the Vinaya, and if he tries very hard, will he still be able to maintain his practice or attain further?
But in this case, actually, if we don't have spiritual power, I said, if our mind is not very sincerity, right? Or maybe our mind is not very pure, we're going to attain any higher attainments. We will get lost. For example, Venerable Kovida. He has already attained second power, but his mind starts changing. If I can take over Sangha from the Buddha, it will be very great. When you have this kind of mind, he can lose everything. Right? So in this case, it depends on how strong his defilements, then how strong his Maya Satya, right? Concealing or pretending. It depends on all these situations, it will be different. Okay?
Vanami said, some of the bhikkhu, he do not keep the Vinaya, so he keep money, eat afternoon, and wearing the robe improper color. But they are very good in Pariyati Dhamma study, and they also give very good Dhamma talk. Vậy chúng con. So, should our devotee go associate with him and learn the Dhamma from him? Vanami said, thank you, said.
So, he is praiseworthy, right? Because of his learning knowledge. But he is blameworthy because of his practice. So, in this case, we have to choose which one do we need. If we just need Pariyati Dhamma, okay, we can approach this kind of teacher. If we wish to practice, we should not approach because they don't have any sila. Right? So, okay, the main thing is, it depends on the devotees. You can choose either one. Approach or no approach. Sure. As we have known, right? We have one saying, he is worthy, he is fit to accept golden temple, golden monastery by his knowledge, we can say like that, right? But by his practice, he is unfit to accept even bamboo hut like that. So mostly Buddha praise sila more than learning knowledge. If we can combine together learning knowledge and practicing, more beneficial. Okay.
Vanami said, May said, please recommend us some of the Vinaya book related to the Sima setting and all the Kama Vacha according to the Myanmar tradition, which is already translated into English. Thank you, Sero.
So far, actually, I don't know any books about that translation. We have books in Burmese, but I don't think we have English translation.
Vanami said, may I ask a question? Some of the meditator, he practiced 49 days. So, after that, he or she tells their teacher about they already attend Arahant. They also know that when will they die, the date they will die. And also their past life, many previous life. And before he passed away, he already wrote many books for the later generation to study. What is the opinion about this case?
Okay, for about Arhat, actually, since I cannot see or I cannot know, I cannot criticize or I cannot make any comments for it, right? Yeah, we have to consider about that kind of person. If somebody say they are Arhats, they can take Arhatship within like 1 week or 45 days or something like that, then we have to consider. Real Arhat will never do like that. They will never declare they are Arhat. Of course, writing books, everybody can write books. Now in Myanmar also we have many bhikkhus, they write many books according to their own experiences. Even the Dhamma books, how they practice, what they practice, how they experience, they will write down everything. So we can also know like that. But knowing the past lives, so this also many things we have to ask how he know, right? That means imaginary or really knowing. There are many things. So in this case, I cannot say believe or don't believe. It depends on your knowledge. Just compare with Buddha's teaching. If in accordance with Buddha's teaching, you can accept it. If not in accordance with Buddha's teaching, don't accept it. I also have many books written by many other teachers. Right? I will not mention the name, right? It will be a little bit risky. So some of the writing are a little bit problematic if we study according to Buddha's teaching. So, okay, you can consider by yourself. Okay?
Thank you, Sayadaw. May the interpreter Bante please translate this.
Vandami Sayadaw, you would like to ask one question. If a person observes the precept, but in this life he cannot be free from the samsara, so what would the effects for his future life? Means for his behavior in his future life. How will it influence? How will it influence his behavior in his future life if he cannot be free from samsara in this life after following the precepts?
Okay, so here I should explain one more thing about how my Pali teacher say, right? When we are in the Pali school, one of the Samnida, I was also a Samnida. One of the Samnida said, he was going to disrobe. Then he said, okay, you guys study. If we pass away, next life we have to restart as a zero. All you are learning will be useless. He said like that. On hearing that, the teacher gave order to all the young Samnida together with the one who talked about it. He just said, yes, we have to restart from zero from next life. But it will be different. There are many people, they can study easily. They can pass the examination easily because of their intellectual quality. It's because they are past life, not because of this life. There are some people, they have to spend very long time to digest one passage. Right? So that means next life, influenced by morality, sure, our mind will incline to morality most of the time. This is the one thing. Another thing, our mind will be ready to accept morality and also other Dhamma. If our mind becomes very flexible, also our mind is ready to accept true Dhamma, we can reject untrue Dhamma easily. Okay, there are many other benefits. We cannot calculate how many benefits we can get in our future. Okay.
Vandami Sayadaw, if a person aspires to be a future Buddha or special disciple of Buddha, what are the precepts he or she needs to observe strictly so that he or she is safer while walking on the long path till the aspiration is fulfilled? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, it will be the same when we talk about sila, right? It will be charita sila and varita sila, both. Charita means if something is harmful for community, harmful for any living beings, don't do it. If something is beneficial for community, beneficial for other living beings, we have to do it. This is it, the virtues. It will be the same, right? Charita and varita, do and not do. Good things and bad things. So bad things should be avoided, good things should be done. These are called sila.
How to punish a samanera? Samanera, if he breaks one of the 10 sila, would he lose his status as samanera? And samanera use money, whole money to build monastery. Does it would it like a lay person building the monastery? And for bhikkhu and samanera, can they stay in the monastery of other lineage or stay in temple? The last question. A bhikkhu can a bhikkhu prepare land and express the will to build monastery, and this monastery, can it be put on internet to accept offering? Would that be allowable?
Okay. So the first one, samanera punishment, right? So if samanera builds like this, sure, this also not in accordance with Vinaya. We should not accept this kind of monastery. For other lineage, because it's totally different already, right? We can accept. This is okay, not really big problem. But for about the last one is
the last one is
and like
prepare the land. Yes, clear the land and build monastery, and this information put in internet to accept offering.
So actually, this kind of things also. Actually, I don't recommend this kind of things. Even now, recently I have found one page in China and Pao Doya like this. My monastery's name. Then I asked who is the administrator, who is the admin there, right? Administrator. Then he just upload only the donor's name or something like this. I just remind the admin, don't upload like that. It's just accepting. We just hinting people to offer, right? That is not really very good. It will be similar to hinting. It doesn't mean it's allowing. It doesn't mean it is breaking precepts. We can hint for about constructions, but that kind of thing is like we cannot say it like a hinting. This is like a announcing to offer, right? Practically, Now we are going to construct one kuti, one monastery, or maybe one building like this. Whoever wishes to offer can join and something like that, right? That kind of announcement is really very, very bad. I don't recommend that kind of things. Okay?
Vanami said, is there any difference between between the result of karma, the karma result when doing the kusala before knowing the Dhamma, and after knowing the Dhamma also doing kusala? So is there any difference within the power of akusala karma result?
Okay, so that means if we know, then knowing, okay, one more thing. There are many other situations it can make the karma different, right? If we know, for example, I'll give one example. If we know the fire is hot, we have to touch fire. We have burning charcoal, for example, burning charcoal, right? We have to touch a burning charcoal. Then we know it's hot. We will avoid the hottest parts, right? We will avoid. We know how to avoid the hotter parts. We will find the parts. If we don't know the charcoal is burning or the charcoal is hot, we will cross. It will be hotter. Similarly, if we know, we may have more solutions to avoid. If we don't know, we will not have any solution. Right? So that means, although we know about the karma, if we don't know the solution, nothing is different. If we know the solutions, sure, there can be difference. Okay?
May I ask, can Seattle explain practically how playing music or singing will bring about Kinesia? Is it because of this tanha and attachment?
Okay. For example, normal speaking and music, which one is sweeter? You can imagine. Most of the musics are very nice, right? It pleases our ear. Although we are very far from the music, we can recall. We can still enjoy the music. It can go very deep into our hearts, easier than Dhamma. So similarly, playing the music, it depends on our skill. If we know how to play the music instruments, then it will be very nice sounds. Similarly, when we sing the songs of the same, it depends on our voice. If we train our voice, then we know how to sing a song beautifully. Then it will be nicer, also more attractions, more pleasing to other people's ear, more pleasing to our own ear also. We may have attachment to our own sounds, our own voice. That is why it just increasing defilements. It will be very far from the liberation. Or maybe it will be very far from like eradicating defilements. Right? That's why playing music or playing the music instruments or singing the song is just called agusala. To attract people, please people, increase defilements. Okay?
Wandami Siado, Suki Hontu, good evening. Please Siado advise, can be bad karma becoming a hosi karma by virtue? Siado, thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, hosi karma will be a little bit different from virtues. It will be different from virtues or unvirtues, right? We should not say like that. Okay, one more thing, like if we are virtuous, akusala karma will become weaker. The result of akusala karma will become weaker. We can understand like that. Hosi karma is very far, right? This is a little bit different things with different topic. Okay?
A kapya, if he arrange requisites, necessary allowable things from the internet, and the kapya requests the monk to 提供必需品的网络 to provide the kapya the link to copy all these allowable requisites from the internet. And that means, can the monk specify or point out the shops, the internet shops, and the things that he wants to copy, including the price? If the monk give all this information to the kapya, would he break the precept? A monk, can he himself make call or arrange for taxi? And then after that, let the kapya pay the taxi fare afterwards, after he arrived.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. For the first one is like sending the link from internet. This one is okay. One more thing, the calling the shop is the problem. You can send all the link to the kapya. This is allowable. It doesn't matter, right? Directly call to the shop is really, really very risky. If he use an improper word or improper speaking, it will not be allowable. Okay. Another one is like taxi, right? Taxi. In the case of taxi, Okay, he called taxi. This one is also a little bit risky also, right? They could not know he must pay it. This one is a little bit new to me. Taxi, okay. In the case of taxi, he didn't handle money, it doesn't matter. Okay. Although it is if Kapia can contact, it will be much better because he didn't handle the money, he didn't arrange money, he just asked Kapia to arrange. It doesn't matter, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. No?
If there are many trees, fruit trees in the monastery, and then these fruits cannot be used up by the monastery, so can these fruits be relinquished to the lay person for them to make the necessary arrangement? And by relinquish it to the lay person, does it need to have certain karma vacha or sangha karma to relinquish this fruit to the lay person?
In this case, we don't need any karma vacha. It's okay. We can just say bhavali is okay.
For nuns, does she needs to follow the 10 precepts compulsorily?
Yes, according to Lady Saros, he just say, well, as soon as we start wearing the robes of dying color, then he must undertake 10 precepts, right? So we can understand if we are ordained, ideally we should undertake 10 precepts. Otherwise, it will not be very different from lay devotees or lay persons. Okay.
In the story mentioned in today's Dhamma Talk, the group of unvirtuous monks disrobed after hearing explanation from the Buddha. Yeah. So nowadays, when people's quality is lower than in ancient time, can we say that it is better and safer for a person to be a lay person rather than being a monk, but having many difficulties or failures in keeping monks' Vinaya? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, mostly we just recommend if we cannot live as a good ordained person, we should live as a good lay person, right? We just recommend like that. So it will be easier and more comfortable, right? Not that much complicated, also good reputation of Buddha's teaching, okay?
Vanami said, may Sayadaw teach me how to radiate the karuna to the person who used to break his precept. Sadhu, sadhu, Sayadaw.
Actually, he is a beautiful living being, right? As we just do radiating karuna in meditation, karuna is maybe free from suffering, right? He must be free from suffering. He must suffer a lot, that we can understand that's why. May he be free from suffering, or may she be free from suffering. That visualize her face or his face. Just radiate compassion to her, him or her. It will be easier. Okay?
Mandami Bante, how about observing precept or Vinaya based on Chetana? Meaning if the action breaking Vinaya but no bad intention. Anumodami, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so that means we have some Vinaya rules. Although it is unintentional, it's not allowing. For example, like going between. Right? Although it is unintentionally, we must not be going between young boy and young girl, or mature boy or mature lady or mature man, right? We should not be going between. If we have done some like a sharing story or like a sending message to both parties, then this is the offense. Although we don't have intention, right? Further, they may send you a letter. You send the letter to the lady, or the lady also send you a letter. You just send the letter to the man, for example, right? In this kind of case, whether he knows they are couple or not. This is the offense. Whether they are writing left letter or not is the offense. Right? This is unintentional. There are many other cases like this. Okay. In this case, we should understand according to Vinaya. For lay devotee, we don't have this kind of rules, right? We don't have that kind of rule and regulations. Okay, next one.
Ondami Bante, concerning Bante's explanation about gathering donation, so if the Dayaka committee announces about donation opportunities to the public of possible donors, whether for food, of construction, etc., is this proper or not? Thank you, Sayadaw. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So for our organization, that means is like a handled by lay devotees. It doesn't matter. As a bhikkhu, we must not take a part or participate in this kind of case. It will be much better or more secure. Okay. Itawata cha amehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe saddha numodandu sabba sambati siddhiya idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me bunyam asavakaya waham hodu idam me bunyam nibbanasa bhajiyo hodu mama bunya bhagam savasadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam bunya bhagam lavandu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.